Hi, welcome, Maria. I'm so excited to be speaking to you today. The last time we spoke was about 2 years ago when you were still in Australia, and I know so much is happening. We've just brought you on board to be a writer for Holistic Living magazine and Global Healing Exchange. And I'd love to talk to you about what you do. I know that you want to talk today about your self-healing journey and how that led you to write into a book, and how your book has led you to doing all of this other stuff. And you've got, your coaching and you do cooking, and you're going to write millions of books. So we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So basically, it is about coming on to 2 years now that I'm in New York, and basically what I do is a little bit of a niche and unusual. I'm very much an intuitive chef, intuitive cook, and I just don't do health and wellness, but I do more intuitive health and wellness. So a lot of people may ask, well, what is intuitive cooking? We haven't heard about it. What is intuitive health and wellness? Well, basically, I practice what my ancient Greek ancestors practiced, because I've spent many years studying the ancient Greeks. Why were there so many, philosophers and ancient healers that lived beyond 100, sort of ill-free, without all this medication? So what I did is I came up with a set of ancient wisdoms and practices and philosophies that I term intuitive. So it's basically a style of health and wellness where I sort of channel into the person after asking them a few questions, and intuitively their body, their language, and their energy is speaking to me and telling me what it is that's lacking, what it is that's sabotaging, like their life or their wellness, or their, what blocks they have to their abundance. And what I then do is I put a program together that's very similar to Hippocrates and my ancient ancestors. What does that mean? It doesn't just involve food. So let medicine be thy food, food thy medicine. It doesn't just include, as it said in the Oracle of Delphi, think good thoughts. I include other ancient Greek therapies, so they may require a particular type of music that's being channeled to me. They may require a particular color therapy. They may require sun therapy, salt therapy. So there is like over 50 therapies in ancient Greece that were channeled, that they used and they channeled healing through. And another important thing that I do is dream therapy. So someone's dreams and them telling me their dreams, as well as part of the health and wellness consultation that we have, also gives me a picture of what emotional issues deep down unconsciously are affecting, or what's bringing on their fears. So it's a very unusual style of health and wellness, and it really, the pivotal point is I'm practicing what my ancient Greek ancestors practice in ancient Greece.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I mean, and that really goes with my belief. We are different people with different bodies, and we need different things. And when we're really in tune, and we can do this ourselves, but obviously you help facilitate people, because we don't know how to do it ourselves. We've forgotten. But there are so many different ways of treating ourselves out there in different therapies, and it's about finding what's right for you, isn't it? And it's great that you found a way to actually tap into that for people.
But what I do, the important thing is I give them the tools, and what I do is I actually help them find the answers for themselves. So I'm more like a guide holding their hands. So what happens is I don't want someone to become totally dependent on me. I give them the tools and ignite within them the self-healing powers that they have and awaken them to it, so that they're then able to have their own maintenance program that they can continue for the rest of their life. So, because what I find with a lot of other sort of type coaching or therapies or whatever you want to call them, I find, and I don't agree with this, there's a lot of people that become quite dependent. And they're there for like 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm thinking, my God, if you're having to work with someone for that long, there's something not going right. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm happy, with some of my clients, it might be like an every 3-month touch base, after we've spent at least 1 to 2 to 3 months together. And then, we'll have little intervals of touch base, but I never get anybody that's totally dependent on me. And that's when I know I've done my job right. When you're able to then continue that. If I had someone that was with me for 2, 3 years, 5 years, I think I'd need to go somewhere like India and do some deep meditation to sort out what it is that I'm actually not doing right. You know what I'm trying to say? Maybe I need some healing myself, and I'm not able to do my intuitive work to the best of my ability. And that was the type of healing that happened in ancient Greece. It wasn't sort of be dependent on someone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, day in, day out. So basically we all have these self-healing tools, and the way I discovered them, as you briefly outlined before, was from my illnesses, because I had to go on this journey because no one else could help me. And I was becoming too dependent on doctors who kept giving me drugs and surgery. And I thought, no, I'm spirit, as the ancient Greeks said. So therefore I have spiritual power to heal myself. I just need to discover those tools and what it is that I need to do. So now that I've discovered those, I want to share them with everybody and say, you don't have to spend tens of thousands or hundred thousands of dollars going into hospital, as is the cost here sort of in America, but with a percentage of that amount, you can invest in someone like me and then save all this money and go on a holiday, kind of a thing. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, I think as a good therapist, and I know all of my experts feel the same because I've had this discussion many times with them. We're here to empower people. We've invested in ourselves and learnt the tools. But if we are, a crutch for somebody, that isn't empowering for us or for our clients. And to actually just see the client to be able to empower yourself, so you've got the knowledge to heal yourself, is what we intend to do with our people. And I know that you work a lot with vibrations as well. We've had conversations about vibration of food before and vibrational energy. So can you just talk a little bit about that as well? Because it's an area that I'm very, very passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of people don't realize that energy is an ancient Greek word, energia. The whole notion of energy and vibration, a lot of people don't know, actually began in ancient Greece. And a lot of the neighboring countries, like the Romans and that, actually thought that the ancient Greeks were a little bit odd, because the ancient Greeks were the first to work out that everything was energy and that energy circulated in a circle. So therefore, in order to heal ourselves, to connect with the higher source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, you had to practice energetic therapies. And these are the energetic therapies that I prescribe in my practice. So, for example, one of them was, as I discussed before, color therapy, which Pythagoras discussed color therapy. Aristotle wrote a book on colors and therapy. So they all knew that color had a vibration. So depending on the illness of the person or the emotional issue, a particular color will help with their healing. Pythagoras also discussed number therapy, and that there was vibrations in numbers. Aristotle also as well, music therapy, and Pythagoras. And what a lot of people don't know is in ancient Greece, when they healed, music was part and parcel of the healing. So each patient was prescribed a particular vibration of music. So it could be theta waves, delta waves. So every single therapy was based on vibration. So if you look at massage, so they did chakra therapy in ancient Greece. So, that was very important to Hippocrates, because there was different meridians, and therefore, depending on what illness the dreams channeled, what the problem area was, they used their hands and energy healing on the body. So it wasn't just food. The hospitals and the treatments of ancient Greece were this sort of the traditional model that we have now, without the drugs, more food healing and herbs, but also all the therapies. And a healer was not considered a good healer unless they incorporated all of these energetic therapies. And I feel that this is the way of the future. My dream is to open healing centers based on Hippocrates, where we have, you know, normal sort of conventional doctors that have also been trained on holistic. But if someone comes in and say they're ill and I don't know, just say they've had cancer, the treatment won't be just about having organic, high vibrational food, energetic, different energies of food healing different parts, but also we will devise a color therapy plan, a music therapy plan. If they've got lung issues, salt therapy will be in the formula, which is what Hippocrates used to use. Different types of hydrotherapy and water therapy. It will depend on what the issue is with the person, and it will be a complete approach of healing. So it will be a total mind, body, spirit. There's too much focus with a lot of coaches, and I get a little bit concerned with just the body. So let's just focus on the food. Oh yeah, just be happy. Well, it's easy to say be positive and happy, but how does one do that? And that was one of my biggest obstacles with my emotional healing and illnesses. What was causing my illnesses was my thoughts. And although I read a lot of self-help books, it was no one could tell me how to do it. So that's another thing that I think is really important, that you know, there are various techniques to teach the how to reprogram, and it's not just meditation therapy, which is another vibrational sort of energy. So really, I could write an entire book on the different therapies and the different sort of vibrational frequency, but depending on the person, what it is that they want to achieve, what, you know, that's, you know, it will be different therapies. So not one therapy won't suit everybody. So for example, I wouldn't be subscribing salt therapy to everybody, but if someone had lung issues or breathing, that would be an essential therapy that I would be incorporating, for example.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty amazing that, you know, that is the way that medicine will be. I think, you know, there's so many of us waking up and realizing that, you know, the old ways were really good ways, and they may not have been everything and, you know, cured everything, but if we can mix medicine, because medicine today is amazing. You know, there's some great things about medicine, and there's some great things about holistic as well, holistic therapies. And if we can marry them two together, I think the world would be such an amazing place. And I love your vision. We've spoken about this before. It's the same as my vision as well. I'd also like to open a healing hospital like that as well. It would be amazing to do that. Because we can help so many people, because healing isn't, as you said, it's not on one level either. It's physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's, you know, energetic. And you've got to address all of that to get pure healing, you know, otherwise you're just focusing on one thing, and you do have to focus on one thing at a time, you know.
Absolutely. It's like having a cup with 10 holes, and you're just focusing on the food, so you're basically putting a band-aid on that hole but not dealing with the rest. And that's the approach that I see with a lot of other people, in terms of when they try to guide, they're just focusing on one area. Whereas if you are an intuitive healer, and this is why I like to call myself intuitive, you're not just looking at the food, you're not just looking at the emotional, but you're also attending to the person and going into their spirit. And when you intuitively go into one's soul and spirit and speak to that, it will tell you everything that it needs. And sometimes I find people can't verbalize that, or they're not aware of it. They're not aware that it's sabotaging them because it's so deeply hidden. It could have been something traumatic that's hidden that. And I think that's the future healer. And unfortunately, doctors, I can only comment from America, are not trained in that. They're not trained to intuitively listen to their patients and to intuitively pay attention. They're not trained in nutrition. So they just train
the time either in a session. You know, you go into a doctor 5-10 minutes in and out. That isn't enough time to sit and listen to your intuition, even if they wanted to, even if they were trained. You know, the whole system is broken.
Yeah, and you know what? It has to change. because if it was working, we wouldn't have that many illnesses. I have to be honest with you, since coming to New York, I have never come across so many ill people in all my life. Like even in the subway station, I don't know what it is about me, but I attract people that come and tell me all their ill story, their health issues for some reason. I must have something on my forehead, which I enjoy listening to because it gives me insight. But then sometimes, I mean, I don't sort of directly tell them what it is that I do, but I will give them some wisdom that comes to me, because sometimes their angels are speaking to me and telling me what I need to say. And I sort of ask for their permission, and I pass on a message. And they say, well, how did you know that? I said, well, I don't know if you believe in angels, but the angel was just speaking to my angel and relayed this information to me, and I just needed to let you know. What you do with it is another story, but some people will say, oh my goodness, thank you for that. I was thinking it was that. So I think that that's the future, the sort of intuitive. And to be able to be an intuitive healer, you have to actually clean your own mind, body, and soul. And what I'm noticing is a lot of people try to heal or call themselves healers, but they haven't yet healed themselves. So how can someone really, really broken help heal someone else? And my journey was a journey of 12 years of healing and isolation. And I knew that if I wasn't going to do the work on me and go on this journey and clean everything, then I would not be doing anybody a service, and I wouldn't be able to fully help them. And I think that's another important point, Sharon.
I totally agree, and then that's why I'm just about to launch the members area, and we're aiming at holistic practitioners, because we have so many gifts. We're taught how to be intuitive, and we can help so many people, but we can only help people to the capacity that we help ourselves. And so many of us forget about ourselves, and our containers are so full. And the membership area is obviously learning from our experts, learning from each other about how to self-heal, because I'm passionate about this. We can do amazing things as a community of healers together, but we really need to look after ourselves first. And whether that's being in a community of people who, you can ask questions to, or you can just, you don't have to go and do a whole big course on nutrition. You can ask our experts, or, find it doesn't have to be hard. It can be simple, it can be easy, but it's something that you have to do on a daily basis. Well-being it's a journey. I've been a therapist for 20 years. I had a session yesterday. It was a 3-hour session with a therapist. My eyes are probably still swollen, actually. I did some breath work, which for me always triggers like quite deep trauma. Then I had a really deep tissue massage, and I love her because she goes really deep and she makes me like breathe it out, so screaming it out, so it's like really, and I feel great today. And then she gives me this sound healing, which I just go off, and then I feel like universal. And because I've released all of this stuff that's been stuck in my body at a cellular level, I go into this amazing place where I don't want to actually come back. So and I'm constantly on a weekly basis doing something like that, because of my vision. I have to be, have a big container, and I have to look after myself. I have to walk my talk. And I think for therapists, you can hear my passion. We all need to do this. We all need to look after ourselves before we can look after the people that we really want to.
Yeah, and it's basically a daily routine of management. It's not once a week, it's daily. And it's interesting that you should mention this, because I've now finalized and I've put together what I call a manifestation planner. And I put this planner together because I realized that I needed to do a set number of things each day for my maintenance, and that included, keeping my little gratitude journal, having my meditation. I've got morning prayers, evening prayers, all sorts of things, and I was putting them in different places. So what I've created a nice little planner where everything's in there. And so I can document everything, and it's got my morning routine and practices. It's got my evening routine and practices. It's got a daily page of an inspirational quote. And then in that I write my gratitude, my healthful achievements. And I thought, oh my God, this is wonderful. Now I'm actually focused each day on myself. And I've got it now all in one place where I can, you know, where it draws my attention to it that I need to do it. So anyway, I'm launching this product for 2017. It will be a calendar. But I guess why I put this together is it's a reminder for anybody that has this, whether they're a therapist, a healer, or someone in the public. It puts you back into focus each day and reminds you of all these things. And to remember, and, you know, to write down your amazing thoughts for that day, to write down your gratitude. It's got a vision board, you know what I mean? It's got key goals, 3 goals for that day. So for me, it is a daily thing. You know, I have things that I do in the morning, things that I do in the evening. And not only that, when I come home after being around a lot of people, I have another routine to clear my energy so that I don't bring any sort of, you know, residual energy that is around me into my beautiful home that's filled with positive energy. So it's a daily thing. It's not only that, I actually find that it's also an hourly thing. What do I mean by that? Every word that comes out of my mouth is a prayer. So I am constantly, consciously aware and in tune to what comes out of my mouth, and to always make sure that that's positive, that's going to lift someone. Because the moment something comes out of our mouth that isn't, that gives us a check as to how spiritual we really are. And it also represents a mirror of additional work that we need to do ourselves. So, you know, it's a daily routine for me. It's like a minute-by-minute presence maintenance program.
Yeah, I think, you know, words are so powerful. You know, I'm a trainer of NLP, and, you know, the words that we say says a lot about how we're thinking and how we're thinking about ourselves. It's just a mirror. And if we're negative all the time and we're conscious of that, imagine what's going on in the subconscious. And imagine all the self-sabotage and all the blocks that are preventing you doing what you need to do. You know, we can know about nutrition, and we can know about exercise, and we can know about all of these different therapies. But ultimately, if we're saying negative things in our subconscious mind that's preventing us from getting to where we need to, then the first thing that we need to do is start. How do I start loving myself? How do I stop sabotaging myself? Because that's where we need to start. We need to start with self-love, and then we can love other people.
Absolutely. If you can't fully love yourself unconditionally and treat yourself unconditionally, how can you then go and help anybody else and be in a relationship with unconditional love, or be in friendships with unconditional love? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, so I guess our conclusion is right. It's a daily maintenance program. So, you know, you can go through a coaching session with someone for 3 months and, you know, get your diet right and make whatever changes slowly that you make to be your optimum, you know, best health-wise and, you know, life-wise. But the important thing I think is, it's then, if you have the self-care tools, which is what we're very big on, empowering people to have those tools, then it's a daily thing. But what I was finding with some of my clients, they were saying, Maria, it's just too much for me to remember that you're telling me to do, and this is why I thought I had to put it all in one journal. So now what I do at the moment is I'm printing it out, because it hasn't, you know, been released. I now give them a PDF of it, and I say, here it is. So now they've got focus. And in there, I'm also very big on full moon and new moon, and the energies of that, because that was very important in ancient Greece, and they did various prayers. So I also provide, you know, different practices and rituals to do on those days. That's very important as well. So there's, you know, certain letting go processes and certain let's bring in the new. So I think if you keep this kind of maintenance on, you know, these sort of periods of time, and have your daily things, whether it be including affirmations as well, which a lot of people don't know. Aristotle started the whole thing on affirmation. And one of the reasons why, when I went back and researched, why was ancient Greece, like a lot of the, why were they so successful in inventing democracy, philosophy, and everything else? And what I realized is they were all practicing affirmations and thoughts. They were very big on envisioning what things were going to be, what they wanted the outcome to be. And isn't it extraordinary that because they were so powerful in the mind and used affirmations, the result is all those successes that we see. You know, all those, you know, wonderful books that we read, Hippocrates, all that knowledge didn't come to them by accident. It was, they were very big believers in tuning into the universe and spirit, daily maintenance of the spirit and energy, daily affirmations, and, you know, daily thinking good thoughts and thinking what they want their future to be like. And I think if we want to look at validation of whether these things work that we're talking about, then I use ancient Greece as the example.
Wow. Well, I think that's a great place to finish off with. Now, if anyone wants to find you, where will they find you online?
Well, they can either go to my website, www.mariabenardis.com. I've got two, or they can go www.Greekalicious.nyc. And I just wanted to mention, in the next week or so, I'm going to be posting up on my Facebook page a free webinar that I'm going to be doing, which is going to be sort of, you know, morning time in Australia, evening in New York. And I'm doing just a free webinar on my healing journey, about how I healed myself. And I'm going to give insight into these ancient Greek wisdom. So how I adopted music therapy, how I adopted salt therapy, and how the different, and how for my different emotions, what therapy sort of worked for me. Because I want to sort of go out there and start talking a bit about this now, and start giving the information out there that, you know, these are other therapies that we could all be incorporating in our lives. So I'll post that on Facebook, and, you know, you might want to sort of, you know, then should put that in Global Healing Exchange or whatever. So it'll be a free webinar. So I'll be doing quite a few free webinars just to get the message out there.
As always, I love speaking to you, and we'll speak again very soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for having me.